So we all create boundaries, and what you recognize after a while of doing this is that these are things you make up. They're completely fictional. You make these boundaries, and because of that, they are most likely temporary. Just because you just made them up out of nothing. I mean, sometimes they produce something real, because after all, they are what you are creating. And if you create something real out of these guidelines, yeah, sure, you've done something and it's real, and it's no longer just in your imagination. But it's important, I think, to have some humility and say these guidelines that we make, these laws of man, are fictional. And because they're fictional, you can change them. You can change these guidelines to sort of, what's the word? Accommodate new information or new circumstances. And if you can keep these as guidelines instead of as laws, then you will have an advantage, because you will have the capacity to change and accommodate new information and events, and accept these new informations and events as resources for yourself that are under your, you accept them, you consider them, you are sensitive to their existence, and it's going to be a resource for you. So it's hard to know when to stop. It's hard to know when to stop or when to start. Where are the guidelines? You make them up. So you just practice. You have to practice putting your foot down and saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Or, yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with that. There are things you could make up. You make them up. It's up to you. So practice that. Say, just tell everybody someday, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna take this anymore. I'm not gonna do this. This is not what I do. Like, people stop eating meat. It's a great thing to do. Just stop eating meat for a bit. And people will give you meat at some point. They will say, hey, here's some meat. You gonna eat it? And you gotta say, no, I'm not gonna eat that meat. And, it feels good. It's a good feeling. And sometimes they'll say things like, well, why? And it's up to you, It's your boundary. You get to create these laws. So people might ask you why, and you can just say, I'm not going to answer that question. You can just not say anything. You don't have to do anything. I'm not eating that. People freak out. It's crazy how much people freak out when they come up against a boundary that didn't exist before, and they're amazed. They're dumbfounded, and they want an explanation. And it's a good idea to talk to people, I think, about this kind of topic, because it helps everyone. If you are able to create boundaries and show people how it's done. Show people how it's done, baby. That's power right there, and influence will come from this perception of power that you have. You have control. You are in control, That's nice. It's very nice.